Good afternoon, everybody. Long time no see. As you can clearly see, I am very festive. I'm prepared for Christmas, as hopefully you are. But anyway, you already know what we're here to do, and obviously, here comes my festive husband in his new Sasha Banks legit boss blueprint standard.
They call this an ugly sweater, but I don't see the problem.
I don't see it either. I don't get it. I don't get it either.
It's still weird. It's still weird to you.
No.
No? You want to stay on that side?
I'll stay on this side.
All right, you're going to stay on that side. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Top Rope Spoilers for our last pay-per-view of the year, WWE TLC. Who'd have believed that we've already gotten to the last pay-per-view? We've been doing this since Mania.
I know.
We've moved things along. For those of you who tried to join us for War Games a couple of weeks ago, we do apologize. We lost our feed about 3/4 of the way through the video, and unfortunately did not have enough time to repost it. We ended up losing all the footage, everything. It was just a IT nightmare, and I work IT, so I should know better.
And we had pretty good footage there, too.
I know. We had good things. We were promoting good holiday items, including that one right here, self-stirring mug, in case you're looking for a last-minute gift idea, eBay. But in the end, we just weren't able to, get it back up before the pay-per-view started, and what a great pay-per-view it was, War Games continues to keep raising that level of NXT. The women out there, Raquel Gonzalez, Kyle O'Reilly, putting their names up there even higher.
Yep.
So, just a fun one around, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about TLC, which is, as we said, the final pay-per-view of the year. So we've got 6 wonderful matches getting started up here. We're going to go over 5 of them during this live footage. We'll explain why in a little bit. But you excited?
I am very excited, very much
so. You got your hat. You ready for Christmas? You ready for holidays? Happy Hanukkah to anybody who's celebrating right now. I think we're in the 4th day, I believe, today. I might be wrong on that. If I do, I apologize. But for anybody celebrating, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all the other fun ones, they're just as important to everyone around here. So, enjoy whatever holiday it is that you're celebrating. But hey, let's get to picks.
If you have never joined us before, what we're going to do is we're going to take the time to go through all 6 matches for the TLC pay-per-view, and we're going to actually explain our picks. So technically we're going to make a pick, and we're going to explain why we've made that pick. So let's go ahead and get into it. You ready, Steve?
Let's do it. We're going to go ahead, and of course we like to also promote our...
I don't have my self-stirring mug, but I have one. I wanted to be festive, so I got my Christmas mug.
You wanted the festive mug. But yeah. We are going to begin with what we believe is our first match of the evening. Now, again, we kind of put the order out there, kind of giving our best projection, but no guarantee that's going to be the actual order. But our first one is for the Women's Tag Team Championship match. You're on that side. You get the belts this time.
Okay.
But it will be for the Women's Tag Team titles, as Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, the incumbent champions, defend against the team of the Raw Women's Champion, Asuka, and an unknown partner. Now, the reason why her partner is unknown is because for the last several weeks she has been teaming with Lana. But Lana got injured on last week's Raw due to a very heinous attack, if you will, by Nia and Shayna. So now Asuka needs a new partner.
I think, over the last couple of weeks, honestly, for anybody that hasn't gotten behind Lana, I've gotten behind Lana. I think she's done very well over the last couple of weeks. Not just...
Well, 9 tables will get you very sympathetic.
But the thing is, she keeps getting back up. She keeps fighting. She keeps believing in herself. Nia and Shayna pretty much, I feel like, have treated her like the redheaded stepchild, even though she isn't. I feel like, with that being said, and how they've treated her, honestly, I hate the fact that she's out of this match, but it makes me wonder who is going to be Asuka's partner, because
we're not up to the New Day yet, so we can't use that joke yet.
But you have to think about Asuka herself has been a fighting champion. She wouldn't be holding that title if she wasn't. Becky wouldn't have given her the chance. Becky herself, as you can see, I'm wearing my holiday sweater, knows what type of champion she is, knows that she's been the NXT Women's, she's been the Raw Women's, she's been and she's even held the tag titles. So, I mean, she's got to
finish it off. She won the Smackdown, too. She's a Grand Slam champion.
And excuse me, she's won the Smackdown. I keep...
Beat her to get it.
Yeah, keep putting that out of my mind. No, but the thing is, these two, don't get me wrong, I love them, I really do, but I'm not really liking the attacks on Lana. Lana's done everything in her power to try to help, and now you've put her out of commission, leaving Asuka with no partner whatsoever. How does that make Asuka feel?
Well, Asuka, is already proven, you nailed it. She is a fighting champion in her own right. She definitely has the capability of being able to handle a match of this caliber on her own. but we've also seen exactly how dominant Nia and Shayna, even by themselves, can be. Shayna taking out the entire Elimination Chamber earlier this year, including Asuka by herself.
Yeah.
And then Nia is just a monster of her own. She absolutely is capable. So if the two of them are on the same page, it creates a pretty unstoppable team that even Asuka, as great as she is going to have trouble conquering on her own. She's going to need to find a good partner if Lana is not available. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke both coming back on Raw to assist, but because they're already an established team, I get the feeling it won't be one of them. But, you know, we'll see who ultimately is the one that gets the call, which...
But like you said, they're an established team, and I love the fact that you've seen Mandy over the last several years. She has come into her own. She's done very well. She's done well with Sonya. She's done well with Otis. She's done well by herself. You could put, in my opinion, and I don't really say this about everybody, I feel like you could put Mandy with any woman on the roster, and I think she'd be a good fit. But her and Dana make it work. So I agree. I don't think it's going to be, Dana. And Dana has gotten the push I feel like she needed. Because honestly, I don't feel like I feel like she's been one of the women who has been underused for her after making her debut and showing how strong she is. I feel like she's been underused for the time she's been here. So, I mean, if it's not going to be one of them two, as you said, who do you think it could be?
Which brings us to our pick. And, every now and then we like to sneak in a bonus point. First of all, because we do keep track of points. Kia opened up with a 1-point lead. She has 59 correct picks this year. I have 58. Thanks to that bonus point you picked up at Survivor Series. So, but we do try to, see where we can pick up some bonus points along the way, and this is where we've decided our bonus pick is going to be. Not only do we make our pick, but we also can pick up an additional point if we can correctly guess who Asuka's partner will be. We did the toss before the show started. I won the toss and chose to go first. So first, my selection as to who Asuka's partner is going to be. And believe me, I had a chance to run like the entire Raw roster in my mind. And there's a very big difference between who I want it to be versus who I think it's gonna be. Who I want it to be is Naomi. I believe Naomi and Asuka have teamed in the past before. They both have a very good liking of each other. I really do believe Naomi would be a fantastic choice. But who do I think it's going to be? I'm going with the return of the Queen, Charlotte, as my pick for Asuka's partner in this particular situation. It serves a number of purposes. It gets Charlotte back into the roster in an entire, main level storyline, while also at the same time also potentially giving it the opportunity for her to finish that Grand Slam run, because the Tag Team Championship is the only one that she has not held up to this point. And even if it's just a very short reign with Asuka, it still would count towards that total. So taking into my mind, if it ends up being Charlotte and Asuka, along that same mindset, I do believe that the surprise of Charlotte, because she has proven she can be able to handle someone like Nia and Shayna, I will actually go with Asuka and her mystery partner to win the tag team titles. And I think this starts the beginning of the end for Nia and Shayna, as one of them begins to make a run to win the Royal Rumble in January.
Okay, that's interesting that you would say that. I've been thinking about it, and in my opinion, I believe, since you're taking Charlotte, I feel like Naomi has made surprise appearances before. We saw it at the Rumble. We saw it when she kind of surprised Bayley when she came back, and she was talking highly of herself, which she should. She to me is one of the most athletic outside of Charlotte, and let's not forget Bianca. But that is another story. My opinion, I would like to see it be Naomi. I think, honestly, it could be Naomi. But maybe what if you had a one-off and you had Kyrie come back just for a one-day contract?
Not a bad idea.
So, but that was my thought.
So is that your pick?
I feel like is going to have to be my pick. Even if it's just for one day, she holds the titles, and then, it is what it is. So I picked Kyrie.
You're the red pen.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm looking at you.
Stealing my pen.
Hopefully I spelled her name correct.
A-I-R-I.
A-I-R-I. So, Honestly, as Steve has said, I love Nia and Shayna. I really do. I love the dominance. I'm glad they're trying to stay on the same page, but you kind of can see kind of a disconnect between the two. You know, when they're in the match, you've seen both of them get beat several weeks by Lana, who's not even going to be in the match. So you have to have like an upholding of, okay, well, if Lana has been doing this, trying to get whoever the surprise entrant is to come in and be able to be a dominant force, I feel like the best chance they have would be Kyrie. I'm taking the team of surprise entrants would be Kyrie and Asuka. That
So
is
we
the
both
only.
see a title change.
Yeah, we clearly
I can go with that. So that moves us into our second match, another tag team championship match. This time it is for the Raw tag team titles.
Man.
You're in charge of the belts.
Oh.
If not, we got to switch sides.
No, we're not switching sides.
As we do move into the Raw Tag Team Championship match, it is the incumbent champions, The New Day of Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, battling against two members of the Hurt Business, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. Now, this rivalry has been going on for several weeks already on Raw, almost
goodness.
actually a couple months now at this point. The Hurt Business is very similar to what the Undisputed Era is in NXT. They are determined that they're going to take over the business. They already hold one championship, with Bobby Lashley holding the United States Championship. Notice very absent from this card this evening.
Yeah. But he may be at ringside.
You know, but at this point, you know, if Shelton and Cedric can finally conquer the New Day, the one team it seems like they can't find a way to beat, no matter how many opportunities they get, you know, at that point, they're holding two major championships. Now, they don't have a woman as a member of the Hurt Business yet. But, you know, always subject to change. You know, we just discussed, you know, potentially Naomi, you know, potentially making her return. But you look at a matchup like this, and it's just been, you know, a very determined Hurt Business that says, we're taking these titles from you however long it takes. We will not quit hunting you until those championships are ours. But this is going to be, by my count, their sixth opportunity at the Raw Tag Team titles, although I guess once it would have been the Smackdown when they were still champions. And the New Day just seemingly is beating them at every turn. Cedric has picked up a couple of singles victories over each, but when it comes to when the lights are on and the titles are on the line, the Hurt Business just somehow is always one step behind the New Day, which has been very common over the last 7 years. Does the Hurt Business finally get over this time?
I mean, if you're asking me, here's the thing with that. I love both groups, and I've come to love the Hurt Business and what they're about. I still may not quite like MVP, but what I will say is he is a very good... Now, he's not just a mouthpiece. You have to think he's been doing this for some time. He's come back to actually continue wrestling. But, like you stated, Cedric has gotten, you know, wins over both Xavier and Kofi. And I feel like, honestly, Shelton Benjamin has held titles before. I'd like to see him with one again. Don't get me wrong, New Day is great. I feel like, you know, just because they've separated Big E and Kofi and Xavier doesn't mean they can't retain the titles. But I feel like some way, somehow, with Cedric, you know, bringing home the win over both of them, I feel like he may have a way, and he has been having to think or brainstorm on what can he do, or what can they do, or what can they come up with to be able to take the titles off the New Day. So for me, it's yeah, they may have been a step behind and whatnot, but tonight I feel like it could be something totally different with the Hurt Business, especially if Bobby Lashley is not there. He might be ringside. MVP will be ringside, you know, so.
Well, I've also been an advocate on here that has stated very clearly that when the same person or team in this instance gets multiple shots at a championship, you're only going to get so many before they're going to say, okay, this storyline has run its course, you're not doing this. With them having this many opportunities, I really do feel like this is the match in which, if they're going to put the titles on the Hurt Business, this is when it has to happen. This is when they've got to make that move if they're going to transition it into the Hurt Business. Otherwise, this point has to be, of course, and at this point, the Hurt Business has to start looking for its next conquer, whether that means Bobby Lashley now defending his U.S. title, or it means somebody moving on to, you know, perhaps another championship, whether you want to, you know, look in NXT, or whether you want to start shooting for Drew in the WWE title, you know. So I do feel like this is the time where if there's going to be a change in the tag team division, this is when it needs to happen. So that brings us to our pick. Kia, you're up first. Who you got?
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take spoilers here. I'm going to say the Hurt Business, somehow, some way, Cedric has got something up his sleeve. I said it for Sammy. I said it for one other match previously this year, and somehow I keep being right on these because I want to see, another team hold those titles. I want to see a title change tonight, so I'm going Hurt Business.
You're going with your second one.
Yeah.
Although, I guess, technically, I took a title change in the last one, too. The New Day has been the one team that it seems like, always finds a way to get it done with that power of positivity or whatever. It seems like anytime that it seems like they're ready to start, potentially saying, okay, New Day, it's time to start building up other teams. It's time to start, falling back, that's when all of a sudden it seems like they push their tag team title run by another 6 months. It seems to be how it works. The popularity of Kofi Kingston, who was already extremely popular before he won the WWE Championship, ends up leading to, the New Day being one of, if not the most popular team that WWE has on the main roster at the moment. But you look at a situation with the Hurt Business, who has come in and has said, we're going to handle our business, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to dominate. We're going to win, and if we don't win, we don't lose. We'll learn, and we'll come back better than we were last time, but we're not going to quit. And I do believe that, similar to what you said, this will be a situation where perseverance will ultimately pay off. The Hurt Business has been one little tiny step behind the New Day every step of the way, and I do feel like if it's going to happen, now's the time it needs to happen, and this is where it does. I agree with you. I do think the Hurt Business wins the tag team titles tonight over the New Day. That's not to say the New Day won't be, game and ready. And, I do believe we're going to see this probably one more time on Raw, maybe New Year's, but, I do believe the Hurt Business wins the tag titles.
Yep.
So that would normally bring us to our third match, which is going to be the first ever Firefly Inferno match between Randy Orton and The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. However, we are holding that pick until the very end because we actually have something very special planned for that one, so we're going to hold that pick until the very end. When the live feed here goes off, don't go away yet, stay with us, because we do have one more pick that we're going to get to at the end. So, therefore, we'll transition up to what we call our main event line, and that, of course, is our big 3 championship matches of the show, beginning with the Smackdown Women's Tag Team Championship match between incumbent champion, the Boss, the Blueprint, the Standard, Casca Reeves, whatever you want to call her, Sasha Banks, and the untouchable Carmella. Now, this one has been one that's been brewing for about a month now. Even before Survivor Series, Carmella has made it very clear, I'm back, and I'm back for one reason, and that is to be champion, to wear the gold that I rightfully deserve, that I rightfully am entitled to have. And Sasha Banks, who of course just finished her big rivalry with Bayley, is now determined to say, no, I can wrestle circles around you. You are not deserving of getting to disappear for 6 months, and then you immediately get to come back, and the first thing you get is a title shot. But as Carmella is very well of doing, she eventually goaded Sasha into not only putting her title up not once, but now twice, as this title was defended on Smackdown 2 weeks ago, with Sasha ended up losing her cool and getting herself disqualified. So Carmella now believes she's in Sasha's head. What do you think?
I feel like the Boss has something up her sleeve. She always has something up her sleeve. She may let Carmella think she's in her electrifying blue hairs, but I feel like, honestly, I feel like that's just a facade for Sasha to say, okay, she thinks that, I'm going to let her think that, I am the boss, I am legit, I run this show, I've held this title, I beat my best friend for this title, or excuse me, former best friend, my bad, I'm not going to let you, Miss Untouchable, come back, think you can dance your way into it, have your little side person, again, her and her side people, if it's not James Ellsworth, it's whoever this new dude is that is tending to serve her, well, wine and everything else she may want. But honestly, no, Sasha's not going to let that happen. She's not going to stand for it. I feel she don't deserve a title. To have not just one, but two, means you have to be doing something behind the scenes to be able to get this shot. Either you're working really hard, you're in someone's ear, you have all that money you say you do because you're untouchable.
We have other choices, but we have children who watch the show, so we won't say. Don't
get me wrong. I love Carmella. I'm not even sit here and say that I don't. But what did this role right here? I'd rather her go back to the trash talking, moon walking, Princess of Staten Island, and it's better than what I'm seeing because I'm really not feeling this one.
Now see, I'm polar opposite on the matter. See, I think Carmella was built for a role of this heel role that she's playing now. The idea of I'm tall, I'm blonde, hate to say it, white, and therefore I am privileged and entitled to say I'm better than you, and it plays a role in the society we live in, and the what you see in the world today is a person like this is viewed in a heel sense. I didn't think we'd get political in the show, but yet here we are. The idea that the blonde white woman ultimately gets everything while everyone else can work 3 times as hard and ultimately end up with nothing. Carmella is confident, no one questioning that. But Sasha is just as confident. She knows what she can bring to the table. She knows what she has and has the gold over her shoulder to prove it. Sasha doesn't sit here and try to claim that she is anything other than the best. But Carmella said it herself on Smackdown this past Friday. If she's not the best, then what is she? And Carmella might be right, because if she beats Sasha, if Sasha loses her cool again tonight, and Carmella takes that title off of her, what does that make Sasha Banks? So, we're going to find out how much Carmella is truly in Sasha Banks' head, and is it enough that she can rip that SmackDown title from her, or can the boss finally be able to silence Carmella once and for all, retain her title, and then get herself ready for the Royal Rumble?
Here's my thing with that. You cannot have one of the hardest working women. Sasha, this has been a lifelong dream of hers. We've seen her stories time and time and again on the WWE Network. $9.99 if you don't have it, go get it.
They have a free version.
And yeah, exactly. But again, we've seen her. She eats and sings her own theme song. She's worked for this moment. She's gotten this moment. She's going to keep this moment. And as that little girl that, sees herself in this, she's not going to let that title slip to someone who feels like they're privileged and is deserving. So, in my opinion, I don't see how she's going to lose the title, but that's
so
just
the
me.
picks will be relatively quick. My pick was decided the moment I went on the air. Come on. But, I believe this match is going to be a lot more competitive than I think it leads on. It's not going to be the match of the night. You've got 2 TLC matches and an Inferno match still sitting there on the card. Mm-hmm. So it's not going to be your top match, not out of a lack of effort. Mm-hmm. But also, the type of ability that Sasha Banks brings to the table. Carmella is very strong in her own right, and I've said it before. I've talked about it with Mandy Rose. You have in this episode as well. Carmella is a person that no one took seriously. She was brought into originally in NXT as a manager to Enzo and Cass. Mm-hmm. But she has developed herself into a fantastic wrestler over the years.
She has. I'm not going to.
No one's doubting that, and she was credited with a SmackDown Championship run a couple of years ago, a title that she won on a night in which we were there as she cashed in on Charlotte. We watched that title change happen live.
Yep.
But Sasha right now is being run at the absolute tops that I think I've seen her, in years, really since around WrestleMania 32, somewhere in there. And then she kind of just seemingly sat in the mid-card with an occasional main event run every now and then. But this really has been the year of Sasha Banks, whether that's, in her stories with Bayley, her rivalry with Bayley, and now her run as SmackDown champion. I feel like they need to end the year with her as champion. Does that mean this rivalry's over if Sasha retains?
No.
Probably not.
No.
I still think you could sneak one more match in here, but I do think Sasha will find a way to keep her cool, or she'll let the rage drive her, and ultimately Carmella will underestimate just how much Sasha can fuel that into, positive push when she's in the ring. I like Sasha Banks retaining the SmackDown Women's title in this match.
Excuse me, y'all. I had a little burp. I just figured y'all need to know that.
It's important that we know these things.
My thing is, I agree with you. I feel like, and we've seen it, the last pay-per-view Sasha did, we thought she was going to lose her cool. Somehow, some way, she must have learned from all the past times, and she kept her composure. She let that energy drive her to retain her title. By the way, if this woman don't get some blue plates, there's going to be an uprising.
She's very upset. She wants those legit boss plates blue. I do too.
Want blue. But my pick, let's go ahead and move on, is going to be my girl Sasha. You cannot take the title off her. She's done too well. What has she deserved to have it removed from her shoulder?
And of all people, if it wasn't Bayley, then why Carmella?
Yeah, why?
That's kind of the idea. Is I think it's not so much that she can't drop the title, because there are plenty of worthy people. I just don't think Carmella is the person you want, but we'll see what happens. So, that moves us to our co-main event, if you will, and it is a TLC match for the WWE Championship. For those of you who've seen before, we do own the belt hanger, and since climbing the ladder will be part of the process, I like using it, because hey, I paid the money for it. Let's see if I can get this thing up here. Yay!
Yeah.
But as we said, it is for the WWE Championship. Drew McIntyre, the once again two-time WWE Champion, battling against the phenomenal AJ Styles, our Georgia boy. So now
he's mine.
Your Georgia boy?
Yes, we've talked about this. I've talked about this with him. Mine, not yours. Bobby Lashley ain't
we just talked about my girl.
Bobby Lashley ain't nowhere up here. He ain't nowhere up here. That's your dude.
But first of all, congratulations to Drew McIntyre on something I saw on Instagram earlier this morning. His title reign, for his 2 reigns he has, actually just passed the entire total number of days that The Undertaker held the WWE Championship. And Taker had 4 reigns as WWE Champion. Of course, a couple World Heavyweight Championship reigns in there for Taker as well. But in terms of holding this title, he actually just passed The Undertaker on the list for a total number of days. So congratulations to Drew. You know that if you pass The Undertaker in, anything that's in a wrestling ring, you've done something right. So congratulations to Drew. But you look at this match, Drew McIntyre, back on top of the Raw Mountain again, after a short slip against Randy Orton. Got himself back up there, went toe-to-toe with Roman Reigns at Survivor Series, gave it his all, came up just a hair short. But he certainly is, running Raw to the best of his ability. But I think in a match in which, a TLC match really plays into the favor of AJ Styles, because the match isn't won with pure brute strength or speed. It's won by the ability to climb a ladder and retrieve down a championship belt. That's not to say Drew is incapable of doing so, but I do believe that this is going to be something where he will be at a slight disadvantage, especially when you consider the fact that not only do you have a high flyer in AJ Styles as your opponent, but you also have Omos, a big hefty dude standing over there waiting as well, backing AJ Styles in a match in which there's no disqualifications.
Let's not forget, nothing against Drew. I love Drew. I got to meet him, very nice. But I also got to meet AJ Styles.
How's his hair?
Oh my God, that man has better hair than me, and that's saying something. That's really, honestly, he's got better hair than half the roster.
That was for you, ladies. Enjoy that.
Not the point. The point is, you have to think, Drew is a very tall, beautiful, graceful man for, his size. And the fact, Drew is not going to let nothing get under his skin. He's not going to be goated. You saw what he did when he was at the, he wasn't at the head of the table, but Roman was at the head of the table. The tribal chief, Roman Reigns.
We'll get to him in a minute.
He's not mine, but that's not the point. He was very graceful, kept a smile on his face, kept everything composed, didn't let Roman get to him. Roman could say whatever he wanted. I feel like he's done the same thing technically to AJ. He comes out when he's good and ready because he's holding the title, and he's not going to be goaded, he's not going to be frazzled. But you've already stated that AJ not only is built for this match, we've seen it time and time again, he is built for a match of this caliber. But not only does AJ have Almost, excuse me, I'm sorry. He also has The Miz and John Morrison.
Yeah, and let's not forget about them waiting in the background.
If it's not a disqualification, if it's, it's no disqualification, that means they can come out, be at ringside. Miz, Morrison, they've been together. It has been stated on Miz and Mrs. They are connected at the hip. When he's not at home with Maurice, they are together and they're getting into trouble somehow. They've been doing that since Miz came to the main roster. My thing is, I feel like Miz has something up his sleeve. I feel like John Morrison is going to actually be okay and get on board with it. Somehow, some way, I feel like there possibly could be a title change. Maybe, not taking nothing away from Drew. Again,
you have first pick, so by all means, if you think it's going to happen, let's see it.
My thing is, I feel like there's, and I've stated it, there's going to be some type of funny business going down. And
Shenanigans.
There we go for Stephanie. There's going to be some type of shenanigans that happen in this match. And it's not because Drew is not trying. Drew has overcome Dolph Ziggler and everything he's had to stand for. But I'm going to pick my Georgia boy. I love him. I will always love him. And I cannot root against him. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit you.
You got Styles taking the WWE title.
In case y'all hadn't noticed, it's the only person I feel, is going to keep their title is Sasha Banks, and maybe
spoiler over here, maybe.
And maybe Roman Reigns, but we'll have to wait and see.
I like Styles. I've cosplayed as him before. It's a very nice person, very fun gentleman to speak with. You've met him in person. But they've got Drew operating at a different level. Drew and Sasha have been the two names that have really carried. I guess you could say Bayley too. Have been the ones that have carried the WWE audience through this year of 2020. Drew McIntyre, of course, winning the Royal Rumble, then everything broke down, and he was the one keeping people entertained when you had empty arena, no audience, dead silent performance center. He was the one that was on the mic 2, 3, 4 times.
Yes.
He has evolved significantly during this year, and he has personified exactly what you want a WWE person to be. Even if you're a person who's not successful the first time around, very few people are. Most of these people, almost every person you see on this very card, had to change their persona once or twice, over their years in order to stay fresh and able to go over, and Drew is no exception to that. AJ Styles has all the talent and all the capability in the world. You also pointed out he has absolutely every advantage. It's a ladder match, a TLC match with climbing a ladder being the way to win the title. You've got Omos. You've got Miz and Morrison. You have potentially an unstable Sheamus also still dating on the side as well that you don't know. He's already cost Drew a match before.
That is true. I didn't think about him.
This is something to where, every advantage favors AJ Styles. And yet, how many times have we seen that against Drew this year? Almost every match, it seems like Drew has had the odds stacked against him, and Drew keeps finding a way to overcome it all. I think in a year in which, he has had to basically hold Monday Night Raw almost on his own, it's going to be no different at this one particular pay-per-view. He has earned the championship. He has earned the ability to be called the WWE's best champion, at least until Survivor Series anyway. I think that's going to be reflected in the result of this match. I do think we could see this, again, but I like Drew retaining in this match. I do think he finds a way to retain the WWE Championship in this one particular one. And for the first time in a while, we'll go different.
Yeah, for anybody that is watching, we have gone different just for this one match. Again, I cannot pull against Styles. There is no way. So
if he wins the title, we basically already know who she's picking. But y'all will excuse me for a minute because we still have one more to go. We'll let Kia introduce that match while I get the plate set up.
So as you can clearly see, our last match is... Hold on, let me get over here. Our last match is a fighting Kevin Owens versus the Tribal Chief and the
head of the table.
The head of the table, Roman Reigns. With that being said, we've seen literally Owens has been knocked down, gotten back up, took it to Roman, took it to Jay, said, I'm going to come after you. I'm coming after your title. I don't care. Owens, I love him. I think he's been a fighting champion before. I think we could probably see it again. But Roman, let's not take nothing away from Roman. As much as I do not like the whole heel role, we've been asking for this, so I can't sit here and say, oh, well, let's not do it. He's done good in this role, honestly. And he's doing it so well that nobody is going against him except for Owens. Sitting here and he's cut promos saying, you're using your own family to do your dirty work. Who does that? I've been there. It's not a good thing.
Well, Owens is kind of pulling out his previous Kevin Steen role he was in other associations. A guy who just simply won't stay down. He will not quit fighting, even if he knows the moment he gets up, he's going to be put back on his butt again. He's a guy that is going to keep fighting for what he believes is right.
Yeah.
He's tired of watching Roman Reigns, as he said, run Smackdown like it's his personal playground.
Right.
His personal backyard. He's tired of seeing Roman Reigns act entitled just because he is the Universal Champion. And even if that means that he has to get knocked down 4, 5, 6, 7 times a night, he's not going to quit coming after him until he takes the Universal Championship from him. A person like that can be viewed as stupid, but also a person like that can also be the most dangerous because it's a person that no matter how much Roman beats him up, no matter how many times he sends Jey Uso after him, he's not going to quit. Kevin Owens is going to be clawing and scraping at Roman Reigns every step of the way. Even if Roman wins this match, I promise you Kevin Owens is going to be right at his heels when he takes that title off the ladder, or Owens is going to find a way to get it done in a match to where, he's going to have to push Roman to his limits, but it's the type of match that's going to basically even the playing field with it being TLC, a match that Owens has been in and won before over this very same Roman Reigns.
There you go. For me, I feel like Kevin Owens being pushed and knocked down. He's been pushing for a fight. He's been brewing for a fight. He's gone to take the fight to Roman. He's taken the fight to Jey. He's done what he had to do. My opinion, I feel like everything that has happened to him, he's going to sit here, he's going to think about it. He's going to be like, I cannot let this happen. I've been sitting here saying I'm going to do it. I'm going to go do it. I feel like tonight, and this is just my take on it, I want to see heel Kevin Owens come out and beat the bejesus out of Roman. Not saying that this fine man needs it. I'm just saying if Owens or Kevin Steen or however he wants to announce himself is going to come out and take this Universal Championship off the head of the table, the tribal chief, he needs to bring something fierce. He needs to be stronger than what we're seeing. Not saying that he's not, but I feel like he could possibly turn heel. What better pay-per-view for him to do that?
Well, as I said, if you go back, rewind, I believe it was 4 years ago, this very same match for this very same championship happened. But Owens was the Universal Champion at the time, had, appointed by Triple H himself as champion, and Owens ended up finding a way to beat Roman Reigns to retain the Universal Championship in that particular match. Now, the two careers have taken completely different paths since then, but here we are, history, tends to repeat itself if given the opportunity, and now here we are again with the roles reversed. The title belt might have changed colors, but, the match and the fierceness of both of these two is still the same. So now we move on to our ultimate pick for this match, and I get to go first in this one. You're absolutely right in saying that, we're going to see a Kevin Owens that we probably haven't seen in quite some time.
Yeah.
He absolutely has the capability of being one of the most nasty, one of the most fiercest people, especially when you're hearing all of these articles and all of these discussions about how, due to ratings going down with Smackdown and with Raw, how potentially they want to bring more adult-oriented storylines, more violence, more adult-themed type of matches into it. Well, Kevin Owens lives and breathes that kind of environment. He is built, he's very ECW at his core.
Oh my goodness, yes.
When it comes to, how he handles his business. So if you're potentially going to consider, leaning this with a person going forward, Kevin Owens is absolutely a guy that can do so. However, I don't think that's going to be the direction they're going to head. He's the head of the table and the tribal chief for a reason. And every step of the way, he has been one step ahead of Owens. Because Owens, very similar to the conversation we had about Carmella and Sasha, Owens is allowing his rage to be what fuels him. And the problem is, that makes him a little bit susceptible to being caught. Because he knows when he steps out there to fight, he knows for a fact that somebody's going to hit him from behind. And he's going to be at a disadvantage right from the very get-go. And I don't expect this one to be any different. Does that mean Owens doesn't put up a good fight? Well, that's what Owens does. It's on his t-shirt. Fight Owens, fight. But
wow.
I think there are too many obstacles standing in the way. Roman also always will have a plan. He's got Paul Heyman, who is out there, preparing for situations like that. He's going to be ready, and he's going to have the right pieces in place. Owens will fight hard. It won't be enough, though. I got Roman Reigns retaining the Universal Championship.
Okay, you're taking your tribal chief. Again, he's your tribal chief, and for everybody else who's looking at y'all's tribal chief, head of the table, not so much for me. I love Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, in my opinion, has come to the main roster and has been given opportunities, and he has taken them, and he has run with them, and he has done great things with them. Doesn't matter if he was face or if he was heel. I see it as Kevin Owens, you said he's going to be in a blind rage, a blind fit. I honestly think that's going to be able to fuel him. I think that's going to send him down the road for being the old Kevin Owens and being the nasty, the toxic, the violent, the volatile, you know, the person I know he can be if he's going to take the head of the table out. Is Roman going to have people at his side? He's got Jay. There may even be a possibility Jimmy might show up. And for all we know, may be getting on board with head of the table. Or Jimmy could be on the opposite end and say, nope, this ain't happening. I don't like this. I don't feel like this is right. You know, Jay, I don't know what you're doing. I don't even know who you are. We're brothers. We're twins. We live together. You know, just, I don't see what you're doing. Why are you following him just because he's the head of the table? My opinion, I see Kevin Owens taking the win. I see Kevin Owens getting help from, you know, an unlikely person, and that's Jimmy himself. Supposedly he's supposed to be due for a return. Why not tonight? So, my opinion, I'm taking Kevin Owens to win this match. Is it an upset? Yes. Am I probably in the minority? Yes. Am I going with my gut? I did when Sami Zayn won, and look what happened.
You've gone with your gut a couple of times, and it's paid off for you. So, you know, congrats. But, you know, we'll see what happens. That's the joy of all of this. But that's up till now all of our picks in TLC except for one. We still have one match left to pick. But we do, as we said, we do have something special planned. So for those of you that have been watching, don't go away. For those of you who are catching this a little bit later, check out the video that follows up right behind this one. But we'll be back in about 3 minutes to go over our last match. So hang with us here, okay?
It's going to be something fun. We've kind of been experimenting, and I think you're going to love it. So, again, stay tuned. Stick around. Don't leave. Don't leave.